Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Vitruvian Meeple's production of the Powers That Be Acclaim the Sky campaign. I'm your host, Trevor, the Vitruvian Meeple, here with Patrick, ECAT, Matt, Julie, and Ray. You'll have to forgive me. We've been a little bit sporadic recently, and we're going to keep doing that, so I'm a little tongue-tied. So, as it is, as usual, we have a whole lot to do and not a whole lot of time to do it, so I'm going to pass it over to our GM. Patrick, please take us into the world of Excelsior.
All right. Well, when last we left our intrepid heroes, they had experienced a very, very uncomfortable morning at the coffee shop with some parents meeting each other and then having a nice long conversation about all the benefits and problems of having your children be heroes. And Black Ice did not enjoy any of this whatsoever because, well, it was her parents. And Paw's parents, on the other hand, very much enjoy what she does for a living. Support her 100%, and well, because they're also mutants like her. So, in addition to this, some other investigations led folks down a very bumpy path to discovering a bit about the DART initiative, and more so the DART project. After getting some skeevy information off of the dark web from anonymous contacts that everybody has not quite figured out who's who yet. But a decision was made to finally go into the DART research building that Crash had partially and see what's what inside, especially for the connection between. And so we start off the next day. The crew is, I would imagine, hanging out inside of their super secret place to, sharpen their knives, make plans, figure out when things are going to happen. But first, as everybody is getting ready for that, somebody has an appointment with her doctor in the morning. So, Neva, you have set your appointment and you head over to Manhattan with Tink, who is going to try to get some information for you out of the network while y'all are there. As you approach the building, you see something different from the last time. There are barricades set up all around the building and crowds of people milling around.
Okay. Well, I take my casual time, but also doing the grumpy stomp thing that generally gets people out of my way. But I'm looking around trying to figure out what in the world they're all looking at.
People are trying to queue up for something, although there doesn't seem to be any official line started. So they're all kind of milling around, and occasionally people break into shouting at the building or at people who are around. There are guards out. One of the three scions who protect Shift is outside keeping an eye on the crowd.
Okay, well, I kind of shoulder my way through the crowd with Tink in tow, holding her hand like she's a little kid, because she gets easily distracted by shiny objects. And I just make my way up to the front, pull out my tablet, show my appointment information to whoever appears to be the guard, saying, my appointment's in 15 minutes. I got to get up there.
Oh, certainly. Come on in. So they let you right in. Once you get into the building, Tink wanders off to find some network access to figure out what she can get. And you head into the elevator and go up to your usual area. And the standard same old, hang your coat on the back of the thing, because that's precisely as undressed as you're going to get today, regardless of what anybody may ask.
Yep.
The initial doctors come and ask you a bunch of the usual questions about how you're doing and whatnot. And then eventually Shift and his associate, Dr. Mubarak, walk in. And Dr. Mubarak kind of as per usual, just looks kind of disgusted with the entire universe because, well, she's working with somebody who can do things she can't dream of, despite the fact she was an excellent student back in medical school.
Well, I instantly go on edge because, well, shift gives me the fucking heebie-jeebies. I have, when I hung up my code, I pushed a button, the button that Tink told me to push on my tablet that's in my pocket, coat pocket, so that it can try and download any information as well. Answer the questions for the lovely doctor while meanwhile giving Shift the stay the fuck away from me glare that I'm assuming he really doesn't pick up on.
Oh, not even slightly. He does his usual where he puts a couple fingers on your forehead and thinks for a minute. He's like,
And I
well, okay, everything is working exactly as it is supposed to. So,
and I bat
Nope.
his hand away to get him to
Nope.
stop touching me.
no progress with the disease and no signs of acceleration of it. Although, have your powers been maybe getting a bit stronger?
A little bit.
Okay, that would explain it. So,
Explain what?
oh,
You know,
it's
I'm the patient here. You tell me what's going on.
oh, your augmented leukocytes are a bit more numerous. Not to a level where it looks like you have an infection, but more just they're doing more of their thing. They're the ones that are all attached to the cancer cells that are keeping them from growing. The usual.
And I
Well,
give
for
the
you, at
doctor a look.
She just kind of shrugs like, I have no idea how that's working.
All right.
Your case file's fun for her because every time she reads it, she's like, I have no idea how this person is not dead from cancer, but whatever they did to her is working, and we're not going to touch anything because it's working.
All right. So can I go now?
Oh, I have a question for you. Does any of your family have a history of heart disease?
Yeah, half my family is Puerto Rican. What do you think?
Oh, okay. So, which side of your family is that?
My father's.
Oh, and so your father's still alive.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Here. He fumbles around his coat, then looks over, and Dr. Mubarak's holding up a card. And he takes it and hands it to you. Give that to your father. We're doing the experimental trial on the heart medication that I developed, and I'm just looking for a good candidate. So he seems like he'd be a nice guy. I mean, he's your father and all. So just in case he has massive blockages or the beginnings of heart disease or something like that, that'll take care of it in no time.
Uh-huh. Okay.
You saw the people outside, right?
Yeah.
They want to be in the trial.
Well, good for them.
So, as I said, give that to your dad. We're
Sure.
expecting maybe like 6 months until it clears. It'll work. Trust me. I made it, so it's fine. And once
Sure.
again, Dr. Mubarak kind of rolls her eyes like, this guy.
Okay. Can I go now?
Yep.
You
Everything's
done here?
great.
Awesome.
See you in
I
6 months.
hop off the little exam table like instantly, grab my coat, throw it on, walk out the door. And as I have cleared vision of the doorway, I reach in my pocket and I tear up the card he just handed me and head on my merry way. Because there's no way on God's green earth I am going to let my father anywhere near shit. And go off in search of Tink, having messaged her on my tablet as I'm going.
So once you get back downstairs and meet back up with Tank and head out, she explains, okay, I was able to get some information about the DA project. So I don't know how useful any of this is going to be, but we'll we'll definitely take a look at it.
Cool. Hand her my tablet. Here's what. Here.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely an association, or was an association with dynamic advancements. I'm not sure if the company's around anymore, or if they've changed
No.
names or something. That's kind of weird. But you know how things happen. You can, hide your assets elsewhere if necessary.
Yep. Cool.
All right.
Let's get back
So,
back home.
so you hop back on the train and head across the river, back into Queens, and in no time you're back at your at the base when everybody is getting together to discuss what's going to go on. So you're in your conference room. Some of you with some various and sundry things you have collected to bring along with you.
I have on the table a collection of 4 very crudely formed, what look to be, from anybody else's perspective, they look like they're trying to be ninja stars. And I have them on the table and just kind of, fiddling with them, checking them out. I have on my extra heavy denim jacket that has the scorpion patch on the back.
It's wool lined to keep you warm on those toasty fall nights.
So I walk up behind Ray, pat him on the back, going, "Ooh, breaking out the heavy gear, are we?"
I pick up the star, and I look at her and I say, "Well, I am a fan of heavy metal."
But so, what? No studs, no chains, no leather. I mean,
Metal, not punk.
So, meanwhile, you look over to the other side of the room. Crash has like a military bandolier and is filling it alternatingly with flares and what look to be tear gas grenades.
nice.
I hear crash like, chink, tink, chink, and I look up. I'm just looking, watching as you, one after the other after the other. And I try to nod to get your attention. As soon as your eyes come up, and I go, "Billy, we gotta talk."
So Crash leans in real close to you. Sure would be nice if we had some grenades right about now, wouldn't it? And he goes back to what he was doing.
All right. Lee Van Cleef. John Matrix, chill out here. If we do this right, should be quick in and out and quiet.
I just look at Jack and motion to Crash.
Right, we're screwed. Okay.
Not wrong.
Just saying. Meanwhile, I've dumped out my backpack and just sorting through, and mostly it's empty candy wrappers. Milky Way special dark, and there's what appears to be a coil of rope and a headlamp, some sidewalk chalk, and a thing of mace.
Do you need a 10-foot staff there, kiddo?
No, I'm good.
So you guys
Okay.
notice.
I can parry and on guard with the best of them. Thank you.
Yes. So you guys notice that in addition to my usual, neck to toe, Lycra bodysuit that I have added a sleek black fanny pack. I open it up, and in one hand, I pull out a roll of duct tape. In the other hand, a big fistful of nice long zip ties for restraining people. Dump that back in and pull out a phone. Like, take enhance this. We should be able to get very, very high res pictures of whatever we need, hopefully including eyes and fingerprints for bio lucky things. Words are hard.
Biometrics.
That was the player, not the character.
So at this point, watching Paw, like getting her stuff, I've gotten up and I've just sort of maneuvered next to Crash, and she's doing things, and I reach into my pocket and I pull out a little small box, and on it has like the comic book style kabang little illustrations, and I open it up, and they're those, and I couldn't remember the name of the damn things, but there's those like the little paper all twisted up, and there's gunpowder, so you throw it and it goes bang.
The snappers,
Yeah, little snappers. So Paw's doing her thing, and like she's just really like checking it out, and I lean over to Crash and I say, "Watch this," and I pull one out and I throw it right like in her torso, maybe posterior region.
And the funniest thing happens. Her tail actually puffs up and she ends up just kind of doing this vertical leap and lands on top of the freaking file cabinet, kind of on her back legs, kind of crouched, giving you a death glare, and is slowly.
I'm still holding the box open. I don't break contact, and I lean back over to Crash and say, "Didn't expect that to happen." Close the box and I put it in one of my pockets.
Jack reaches over to a drawer, pulls out a spray bottle, and just goes, "No, bad." Not at Paul.
I was just about to
but
say
at
against.
G.
I was about to say against Cheat or against Paw, or Crash, just because.
Yeah.
Well, Crash is next to him, so he's probably in the blast area. It's like, stop.
Crash is
No.
not in any blast area he does not want to be in.
And Nox is sitting on Neva's shoulder, cackling as
Oh,
only
yeah.
a pro can.
All right.
So
well,
you pull up the information that you've been able to get about at least the general stuff for the building. So on your fancy high-tech holo table, the satellite view of the building comes up. You see it has a nice barbed wire fence around it, the whole pile of cameras, making sure that nobody sneaks in, which of course Crash bypassed originally by just moving really fast, because security cameras are at best like 30 frames a second, and he can whip past that about that fast. So they'll see a blur of him on his way past, but that's it.
Actually, the one scene that you see that you can see him if you go frame by frame, he's looking at the camera going.
So the building is looking pretty rough. From the outside, it is one story. You have it on very good authority. It goes well below that under the ground, as it is a secret research lab, and that's usually where you put the secret part of the secret research lab. The roof is in tough shape. There's several holes in it. Most of the windows are broken. Weather has definitely gotten inside the first floor of it. Otherwise, though, it is a fairly quiet part of town, especially at night. During the day, there's a decent amount of industrial traffic and people going by, so trucks and stuff, but it's much like all the other buildings in its neighborhood. It's either poorly used and only a few people go there because it's a warehouse or whatnot. It's storing stuff for entirely too long, or it's just, out of service, or something's being built there, and so you only have a construction crew around. The first question, of course, you have for yourselves is, when do you want to go? You want to go when it's middle of the day and try to innocuously just walk onto the property, wait until night, have somebody throw everybody over the fence, or you have lots of options for that.
I'm personally in the wait until nighttime category, but then again, I'm built to be stealthy, so.
I'm all for after dark because then I blend into the surroundings better.
Yeah. After dark cat.
Yeah, after dark works.
Which
look
point we
around the
all
table.
look at Jean and go, well,
Despite the fact that you're right, yes, we'll go after dark. That's
And how late do you want to head out? Is this like a 11 o'clock at night thing, or a 3 a.m. type of thing?
What time of year is it?
It is very late spring / early summer, so June.
Okay, so sundown doesn't happen until 9 o'clock.
yeah.
Yeah. But if
Um,
you head out at like 10, the city is starting to quiet down a bit and switch over into nightlife mode. And it's the middle of the week, so really there's just not a whole lot going on anyway.
Well, I would like to head out not before. I would like to head out before all of the traffic goes away, because I don't want to be the only vehicle on the road. So kind of blend in with the lightened up traffic will actually be more stealthy than waiting until 1 or 2 in the morning.
because our Humvee is so stealthy.
It's not the strangest thing people have seen on the road at 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
this week.
Fair enough.
Right.
It's just who's the asshole driving the Humvee in Queens, with the traffic being the way it is.
This week.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be me since I don't have a driver's license. I just
No,
stole the thing.
no, it won't. So I am going to make the completely arbitrary recommendation of heading out there shortly before 11, maybe stop by the wing joint and pick up munchies so we don't get hungry.
Ooh, snacks.
Yes.
Because a hangry crew is no fun.
As I'm collecting up the empty or the candy wrappers, I give a thumbs up because I'm throwing my candy wrappers in the fridge as we speak.
I have to imagine that Neva has keeps a container of the chocolate ice cubes.
Yeah, she's a Milky Way dark
all right
girl.
Yeah, those midnights are really good.
Yeah. And of
Oh.
course, the obligatory peanuts for the crows.
This live stream
yes.
is not sanctioned by or backed by the Milky Way Mars Corporation, although we could be. Talk to me.
Yet.
We're cheap.
And slightly easy.
Slightly.
All right. Crash will simply meet you there.
Okay.
And in fact, he will go a little early and do some
Case out the joint.
Do some casing of the joint. Yes.
Before Crash leaves,
Mhm.
Jack tosses him a can of WD-40. when the time's right, little spritz on each of the lenses of the CTVs. It's less obvious than blanking them out. It'll blur the image.
It's brilliant. Thank you.
What you guys don't pay me for.
I look at him across the room and said, there's a way out of that.
Lucifer trying to tempt me with your gilded cage yet again. Did you get a sign-on bonus or something for
Referral
each?
bonus, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Actually,
can
Yes,
negotiate
actually,
something.
there is a sign-on bonus.
and as the team leader, I'm assuming he gets paid incrementally more by how many people
Oh
are on the
yeah,
team.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
he does.
I bumped the team from 4 up to 5. Mm-hmm.
That's when the real dollars start rolling in.
What's the phrase, guys? No means no.
Yep.
So Crash zooms off into the night,
Yep.
heading southward towards the illustrious Bronx. And the rest of you pile into your Humvee to take it out for the first time for an official mission. So who's driving?
Not it.
I'm driving.
All right, and who's got shotgun?
Me.
All right. So you guys get in. It's, it's one of those things. It's not built to be comfortable, but it doesn't induce fatigue while you're riding for long periods of time because, well, that's exactly what it's designed to do. And so you start it up, and the engine is spectacularly loud for any vehicle, especially since you're in close space. And you see the garage door open up, and did you use a ramp or an elevator to move the vehicles in and out? I don't know if we had decided that.
No, we hadn't decided that. I'm gonna
No.
set ramp unless it becomes strategically more preferable to do the elevator thing, but
I mean, the elevator is more space saving.
But
But-
elevators break down.
True.
Exactly. Less point of failure.
So you watch the elevator door open, and then you take the truck up the ramp, which it does marvelously. It has spectacular traction. You turn down the alley and make sure that you get the door to close behind you because you're not going to be that person who makes that mistake. And find like half
I've got the little
hooligans
garage door
swilling your
opener
beer.
thing on the visor, to click.
You pull out into the street, you stop by the bodega to pick up some more candy and some snacks and some drinks. And then there's one of the ubiquitous food carts not too far away, so you decide that's a good place to pick up some food.
Street meat.
Mm-hmm. I buy the round for everybody who's interested.
And then you
I
head off on
pass.
the road. Real
Mostly because
food.
they're not kosher.
Ah,
Actually, most of the street carts do offer halal and kosher food because the population's in New York. So you could probably get yourself a good knish or something.
Yeah, I'll still pass.
And I'm sure there's a shawarma stand somewhere.
oh,
I got my Milky Way. I'm good.
So you're cruising down one of the major boulevards, and of course, you're all eating your various and sundry types of food. So obviously, Ray has something that's wrapped up, and so he can drive and eat at the same time. And of course, the teenagers riding in the back eating a candy bar. And there's a couple of crows hanging up on the roof of the vehicle, just catching a ride along the way because why fly when you can ride?
Right.
It's important to note though that they have their feet, they're holding onto the luggage rack with their feet, but they still have their rings out looking like they're flying.
I want to equip them with LED collars and like get 3 of them and just have them all like that would look awesome.
Also, you might be able to, convince some of the more stupid people that we're actually cops.
Could be.
Red and blue intermittent flashing. Oh my god, I'm gonna write this down.
Pulling out pieces of
Talk to
shawarma,
Tink.
reaching out the window and holding them up.
Hey, why are your lights cawing?
It's the new police siren.
Yeah.
I was gonna say new
Yeah,
siren.
we got an upgrade. It's more organic.
It's still my favorite thing about having actually traveled to New York was within minutes of being there, I discovered that New York City police cars go voop. And the fire engines also make this kind of weird, low-pitched electronic noise because, at least in Manhattan, amongst all the tall buildings, an actual siren would be deafening.
Yeah.
And you couldn't tell where it was coming from anyway. So they have them, but generally speaking, they're just making those voop noises. They pull up behind people. I found adorable, especially for the little smart car one that was there for traffic. God. Here's your smart car. Go fight crime, kid.
For your low-speed chases.
This stream is not sponsored
that car
by or
crows are
affiliated
actually
with Smart
flying.
Car.
So it takes about a little over half an hour to drive down there. The traffic isn't bad, but there are, of course, lights absolutely everywhere. It's New York. You can drive a little bit faster than you can walk to get anywhere, but then you don't have to walk, which is nice. So you get yourselves into the neighborhood, and you see Crash hanging out in the shadow of a street corner underneath a lamp that's busted because it may have been busted before, you're not sure. But this is Crash.
Hey, kid, you got the stuff?
Roll down the window as it passed by. No, we're not. You're not fitting the profile at all, dude.
In some places, I do still have a rep to maintain.
So you park around the corner so as not to be in direct line of sight with any of the security cameras there. Although there are security cameras everywhere, but you just kind of hope that, it being a, hero-y vehicle, nobody's going to give you a ticket or tow you or anything like that. Although towing a Humvee is probably a bit of a trick too. Those things are heavy as heck. And this does have armor on it, so it's not like a Hummer. It's a Humvee with the half-inch armor plating all around.
Yep.
Okay, then those seats aren't comfortable at all.
No, it said they're not comfortable, but they will not exhaust you when you ride. So your legs don't fall asleep. They are well designed, but it's not a comfy ride. Every bump and everything is just straight through your spine. Keeps you alert.
Yeah.
Although you can, reduce the tire pressure in the tires to make the bumps a little smoother. Other fun things
and
they
then
have.
you get even worse acceleration.
Look, it was a free car, okay?
Gas mileage be damned. So you park and you all hop out and try not to look like a bunch of people dressed up in more or less superhero costumes, getting ready to go, sneak around and not be obvious.
So, as we are just ready to head out, Crash and puts his arm out. He puts his arms out to stop anyone from going ahead of him. There's one more thing I have to check. He leans out and hopefully just quiet enough that the security cameras won't register it, but loud enough that anyone who's around could hear it. I have an exclusive. Last time I was here, I had a problem with the press. Seems she's got better things to do tonight.
We hope.
So you walk down the street a bit, and now you can see the compound. And it's a small, a short, very modern building that's utterly falling apart. It's surrounded by parking lots, and around the parking lots is a very tall, very nice fence. And at the top of each of the poles for the fence are cameras. None of them are moving, mind you. They're all positioned to kind of overlap each other and are making sure that they don't see too far past the sidewalk that is in front, that wraps around the building, because otherwise you're spying on your neighbors and you're not allowed to do that.
So Crash will take out the can of WD-40, kind of use it to, give a salute to Jack, and then go and grease up the cameras.
Okay, so are you doing the entire set, or are you just taking care of part of the side where you're going to be heading in?
Let's do them all so that the ones that we got the ones where we're going don't seem out of place.
Okay, so as you're going along, the occasional crow has to hop up off of the camera that it's alighted upon to watch whatever you guys are up to, because it doesn't want to get hit with WD-40. Doesn't take you long to do. You go around the block, then you're back.
Thanks. That and I toss Jack the now mostly empty can.
Yep. It's quite refreshing.
So you get to the fence, and how are you going to circumvent that particular piece of security for the building?
I walk up, put my hand on it, and I roll shatter.
All right.
So everybody stand back, because I'm still new at
It'll
this.
be a target 2 because it's not a very good fence. It's not very good steel.
Okay. Difficulty 2. I'm going to put 1 level of effort. Just, no, I'm not.
But can you do levels of effort for free? Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you put your hand on it, and a perfectly person-sized hole shatters amongst the sections of the fence.
Cool.
It almost looks like Wile E. Coyote slammed through it at some point. Now you can kind of see arms and legs on it.
But let me guess, it's a perfect person, her shaped, right?
Oh, yes. You have to duck a bit and turn to the side in order to get through.
Actually, no, the problem is it's the exact size and shape of a human-sized crow. With the, with the wings spread and the whole bit.
As Gen X is squeezing his way through, he's kind of glad he's been jogging lately, because that gut he had a couple months ago really would not have had a good time here.
I
So
just
you walk
stepped
through the
through.
fence.
Well, yeah.
You walk through the fence. The parking lot has tons of weeds growing up through cracks in it, and most of the paint has faded over the years that it's been sitting here doing nothing. It's just baking out in the sun without any maintenance. And you make your way towards the building. So the next question is, how do you want to try to enter the building?
Well, what does the building front? What is the front of the building? Are we talking about glass double doors, glass front because there's a lobby, or is
Yes.
it what?
Yes. The front of it is mostly glass. Surprisingly, most of that glass is not broken. The doors are actually pretty handy, and there's a big chain across the doors with a big old padlock hanging on it. If Ronan was around, he'd just bypass that in 2 seconds. But
Anybody bring bolt cutters?
Even better. And let the thief handle this one. And I walk forward, take out my lockpick set, and pick the damn lock.
All right. So, let's see. I take it you have a skill in that?
Yes, and I have 2 deck shifts, so it's and the lockpicks
Negligible
yeah,
at this point.
Yeah, the lockpick set provides an asset, so I'm starting at a base. I make a 4.
Okay, yeah. So you just like, put the tension bar and just tick, 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 tick. Tick.
Yep.
Take the chain off. Do you keep the chain?
If he doesn't,
Sure.
I do.
Yeah.
It's one of those that's designed like if somebody wanted to try to like ram into the doors with a truck and the chain won't break, the doors will shatter, but the chain will still be there.
So I'm going.
Oh, right.
I'm going to take a second, and I'm basically going to, so the bandolier is going this way. I'm going to flip the chain over my shoulder this way, like the scene from Spawn.
Spawn, you have to learn to trust people. Shut up, old man. Repeat for 12 episodes.
And I look at Jean and say, "Look, now we're both Gen X."
All right. So the door swings open, and you smell this musty smell coming in. And it is pretty dark inside because there's not a whole lot of lights around here. And as far as you can tell, there's no power in the building.
Okay. I'm going to take a moment to pop my dark sight cipher, which is I'm going to say since it came from Jack, it's a little temporary mechanical upgrade to his sunglasses.
Yeah, one of those magnetic clip-ons.
Something like that, yeah.
Also stylish.
So I can now see in the dark for 10 hours.
Right.
I reach into my backpack and pull out my little headlamp thing and click it on.
I do the same.
Put the mask on.
Cat.
Power up. Power up the night vision.
So you walk in, and as you would expect, as you can see from the scene that we have up, the first floor is a wreck, absolutely and totally. It does not look as though people have been through it. Surprisingly, it has not, you don't see any evidence of outright vandalism. There's no spray paint on the walls, although the walls are falling apart. The ceiling tiles have one by one given way to the moisture that's in the building and fallen to the floor here and there, just leaving a patchwork above. Many of the bulbs are broken. This does not surprise you, seeing as the last time one of you was in here, there was also a whole bunch of hooligans running around. So there's that amount of damage as well. But once again, they were not there vandalizing the place so much as, I don't know, maybe hunting somebody down or something like that. You're not quite sure. So is there anything on the office level that you would like to try to look for?
File cabinets.
Oh, there are file cabinets all over the place.
Aplenty.
Unfortunately, you can see that there are 2 kinds of file cabinets. There are ones that are still nice and securely closed, and ones that are open and just emptied out.
So let's see if we can open up the ones that are securely closed and see if there's actually anything, useful in them.
All right.
Because say sounds like a job for Crash
I was
and
gonna
his lockpicks.
And say, if they're locked, no, they aren't.
And at that, they are filing cabinets. So like anybody who perhaps has like a strength shift or a decent strength pool can probably just pop one open. Not very difficult to do. Let's see. If anybody wants to do a search or perception check, you can look around through the documents for anything interesting. That will be target 4.
Target 4?
Yes.
Perception.
So rather than rolling by myself, I'm going to assist Gen X because I'm trained. That counts as 2 assets.
Hee. Effort. Hold on. Assets. There we go. So I can bump that up to 2 now?
Yeah.
Cool. Should be good. Dear
There you
God.
Nice.
Blowing them all now, though. That's
Seriously.
not.
Yeah, that's.
I'm out. It's not even 9 o'clock yet.
Call that to my cats.
So
Not-
poking around through one of the cabinets, you find a very interesting and suspicious looking file, in that it is in one of the ones that has been mostly emptied out, but there were a couple files that fell off the track inside and slid sideways, and whoever was emptying this thing out in a hurry didn't seem to care a whole lot. And it has mention of medical procedures. And one of them in particular is a document discussing usage of the transfer resonance to affix effect, as it puts it, to white blood cells to counteract cancer.
Okay, well, I'm kind of peering over Jean's shoulder because I'm nosy that way.
Mhm. And I sense her light starting to like flicker and start to go basically like, a light Muppet, and just noticing her glare. So I move the file down. As soon as I see white blood cells, I sort of like give this, oh, look, and I drop my hand and shift it over a little bit so that she can read along with. She might find this interesting and relevant.
Did I roll my knowledge in of science?
Yes, actually, you can.
Target
Target will be a 4.
4. I'm going to put effort 2.
Nice.
So I start reading over his shoulder and
So this all sounds very, very familiar to you, based on what you know of the effect that has happened to you. It seems that that was actually determined. That's something they wanted to do. And also of interest, they do not mention you inside of the document, but they do make mention to a patient 866.
Is that number relevant? Do I recognize that number?
You do
GM?
not recognize that number,
Okay.
but that seems like something that might be a useful reference for the future.
Right. So I read over Jean's shoulder and go, we need to keep that.
Uh-huh.
You want
Yeah,
to throw
we
it in?
do.
I turn around so he can see my backpack. You want to throw it in here for future reference when we're not
Zip.
standing in the dark?
Yeah. Like, okay. Put it in there. Nice and neat. Zip it up.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're continuing to poke around the office space, you see things like there is a vending machine that still has some candy bars, chips, and other things still on the coils for it. That, when this place was decommissioned, they didn't remove any of the office furniture or even, the food from the vending machine. It seems like they just kind of cleared some stuff out and left.
Was that damaged when the hooligans? So like we could just reach in
Strangely
and take...
enough, there are a couple boot prints in it, but they never managed to break the glass on it. And mind you, of course, Crash, this is starting to seem kind of familiar, even though your memory of events are a little messed up because of the minor head trauma of living through an explosion.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, I remember this place. In fact, you're pretty sure that the access to the lower levels is right in the middle of the building. They had elevators and fire stairs there. Why anybody would put fire stairs in the middle of a building? You are not
right.
That does not seem up to code, but
Any chance that along any of the interior desks or along the wall, nearest walls or so, that there might be a floor map that's still either laminated or vaguely intact and legible?
You know, strangely enough, since you got such a nice effect when you were searching, you found a map.
Yes.
And in fact, the map includes the office floor, and then below it, it has a medical floor.
So I see the map, and still next to Black Ice, and I kind of show it over to her. It's like, ready to do more exploring?
I got nothing else to do right now. Sure.
And Paul, where are you? Oh, muted.
You mean just a minute?
I
Okay.
imagine she's feeding the cats.
Yes. I was gonna ask her to do a perimeter check, like interior.
Well, see, what do you need? What do you need someone to look for?
Primarily accessibility, make sure that debris, structural integrity is intact, and of course we are who we are, so there's a non-zero chance that there's a nice little trap set or something else just waiting to give us a good old surprise.
Yep. So I will go about the business of checking these things. So I am trained in assessing danger.
Okay.
I am also trained in perception, which I would assume both of those would qualify.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Trained. That's my one. Okay. What's my difficulty?
Let's call this difficulty 5.
Okay. If I use the bag of sand to make sure that there aren't any laser traps, can I get an asset for that?
Yes.
Sure. Cool.
While Crash is doing that,
Done.
Paw is going to pop a motion sensor cipher. It is a level 7 cipher, 1 hour per cipher level. The user knows when any movement occurs within short range, and when large creatures or objects move within long range, the cipher distinguishes between the two. It also indicates the number and size of the creatures or objects in motion.
All right. Excellent.
Nice.
That's a really good cipher.
Yeah, that's a great cipher.
Pull out the Aliens motion tracker app on the phone. Shweeby, shweeby, shweeby. 10 meters. 8. 5.
Oh my God, the hooligans are in the ceiling.
That can't be. That's inside the room.
Why is that app titled PKE meter?
Yes, have some.
These quippy references brought to you by children of the 80s.
Yes.
All right.
So did I find any danger?
Oop, hang on. For some reason, my thing is not scrolling forward. There we go. All right. So, yes, you do find a couple interesting things. First, there are indeed some laser tripwires scattered throughout the building. And these are powered still. What's powering them, you're not entirely sure. You guys don't have any engineers with you. But they don't seem to be running off of main building power because not a single switch has worked in this place since you walked in. But they are scattered here and there. they're easy for you to mark out. Like if somebody had like a big piece of like, I don't know, like pink chalk or something like that. they could-
I was
they
just
draw
about to look
lines
up
on
and
either
say
side of it.
that was Paw that had the chalk, right? Or was that Ice?
No,
No,
that was me.
just
Okay.
name it.
Ice. Chalk.
I reach into my pocket, pull out. This one's bright pink. And toss it to him. It's your standard little kid sidewalk chalk.
Excellent. I mark them up good.
Okay.
I also have a can of reflective spray paint. Should that be necessary by someone else later on?
Okay, so we know where the laser tripwires are. The question is, can we deactivate them? I mean, I can probably contort myself to get around them depending on how complex they are, but
They're not overly complex. They are all shooting a laser somewhere between shin and hip level.
okay, so
if
it's not
any
like a
person walking
tangle.
by would trip them. No.
So it's not
It's-
okay.
Yeah, it's not the crazy tangle of stuff. It's just more or less looking to see if somebody is wandering around the first floor.
Okay.
No, that's the kind of stuff we get just before the big boss fight.
So basically, never, like hold up like the hem of your coat before you step over them.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll make
or
sure
she's-
I make sure that my tail doesn't swipe at it.
Yeah. So
She if she brought her skateboard, she could just like get real low on it and just slide underneath.
Is what I do actually, because
why not?
yeah,
Yep.
Because she's young and
I just
flexible.
laid out. I do the flat on my stomach on my skateboard, zoom underneath.
Wasn't that a scene in Hudson Hawk?
Yep.
Oh God.
I start singing, "Would you like to
To
swing
swing
on a
on a
star?"
star. Carolyn booms home in a jar.
Okay.
We love you,
Alright,
Bruce
so
Willis.
You get to the elevators, and the elevators for this building are fairly big. They look to, they're kind of that cross between like freight elevator and hospital elevator, so it's a bit larger than your average one. Unfortunately, once again, there's absolutely no power, so they're just sitting there. And there's also the ubiquitous fire door. There is a cage bolted to the outside of the fire door to keep people from entering it. This is something new since the last time you were in here, Crash.
Mhm.
Like physically over the door, not just the lock.
Over the whole door. It's basically they took a grid of metal and screwed it to the door frame.
I stand there looking at it, going, "Are they trying to keep something out or something in?"
With our luck, probably both.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, until that thing determines that we need to be paying more attention to it, which right now it doesn't, suggest we just keep on going.
No, that is the route to the lower floors,
Yeah.
though.
Oh, okay.
We kind of need to get through that to keep going.
Because if we were going up, we could do the whole, go to the elevator, pop the hatch, shimmy up, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. But yeah,
Unfortunately, there's no up to go.
exactly.
Yeah.
Fortunately, someone brought a crowbar.
Somebody
got
also has a
rope.
pair of bolt cutters
you
on
go.
his
And I
character
brought
sheet.
rope.
Have at. I will absolutely take a back seat to the bolt cutters and or the rope.
So it's everybody's kind of investigating. You pull out your bolt cutters, you crack, crack, crack. Make fairly short order of it. Once again, it's not made out of any sort of special steel that can't be broken through. It's something somebody picked up at their local hardware store. So, and you make fairly short order of it. And then the door is not locked. It just swings in into a stairwell heading down. So, interestingly, the stairs only go down one flight for this particular set of fire stairs. Once again, this cannot possibly be, according to code, you know, there's at least two floors below, maybe more. You hope that nobody ever like had a fire downstairs, because just somebody's going to die of asphyxiation when they get out of this place.
Can
So
I
you get to the
do
next
a
door.
Can I do a roll for sense of the weird? Because like my spidey senses are kind of going off here.
Yes, you can.
Target.
This will be a target 4.
Fuck. Nope.
You know, you have been hanging out in enough abandoned places and back alleys in New York that you were not really disturbed at all by what's going on here.
All right. Well, it
So
was
you
worth
get to
a
the
try.
next door. Onto sub-level 1.
Once I'm at the door to sub-level 1, can I do an assessing danger before opening the door?
Sure. That too will be target 4.
Well, feck.
Nope, that door's fine. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's just a fire door.
Of course not. Okay. So I open the door.
So you hit the thing, push it inward. There's a small amount of resistance as there's some crud on the other side of the door that the door kind of has to push, as the ceiling once again has collapsed some more since the last time anybody walked through here, which was Crash, I think, who was trying to stagger his way out of the place.
Yep.
So let's see. To your next scene. So this place looks just about as bad as it is upstairs, with the addition of it's a little damp down here too. So you're looking around with your lights. There's plain tiled corridors, a fairly straightforward layout, and you get the feeling that this is definitely has like the feel of like a medical location. You see like the several rows of doors along the sides that look like they could be changing rooms or exam rooms. Just overall, not that bad. There is one kind of weird thing about it, though, is that the middle of each hallway is clear of debris.
Like something was dragged down the middle of the hallway.
Something
Clearing
like
it.
that, yeah.
Like,
And,
is
like
it
stuff has been kind of pushed to the sides.
Can I use my predictive equation ability to, just study the marks, see if there's anything
Sure.
I can?
Yes. I'm trying to remember, is that the one that you roll or the one that you just ask a question for?
Just ask a question for, does it look like anybody, like, was something dragged across, or did something
No, there
walk?
are wheel marks.
Wheel marks, okay.
So something was pushed or driven or something through here. It's fairly narrow. It's a path that's about 2.5 feet wide, and the wheels are about 2 feet apart. And so it's actually 3 wheels. It's 2 on the sides, and there's one in the middle that seems to direct it when it turns.
So smaller than a gurney.
Yes.
Like a little trike.
Something like that.
Okay.
Figure its base has to be about 2.5 feet wide. You're not quite sure how long it would be.
Right.
But it seems like it was just kind of moving along here, and then the debris is getting pushed aside as it goes.
Right. So it's either a handcart, some sort of Roomba, or we're looking at a pair of twin girls. Kind of creepy.
So, Paw, as you guys are standing there, you actually feel that there is motion taking place on the floor.
Okay.
Something is moving along one of the hallways.
Okay. And if I remember correctly, okay, so is it shorter range or
It's at longer
longer
range.
range? What was that?
It's at longer range. It's further down the hallway and around a corner or two.
Okay, which means
You
that
sense it at the
okay. There is movement down the hall and around the corner. Crash, do you want to go and discreetly investigate, please?
Yep. So I'll be all sneaky sneak like.
Yep.
Actually moving at regular speed, which is kind of odd. Because I don't have invisible phasing yet. And yeah, I'm going to go see what I can see.
Okay. So you sneak along and feel the need to roll a stealth check.
What's the
See if you're
difficulty?
going to trip over any of the debris. The difficulty will be 3.
I pass.
Okay. So you sneak along, more or less along the middle till you hit the corners and peek around the edge. As you get to the first corner, you hear a noise coming from down the hallway. And it is some small, high-speed electric servo motor. There, sound. Then it stops. Then it makes a similar sound, and then makes the sound some more and the sound is getting closer to you.
Okay. So it's coming from like around a corner or something?
Yes, it's coming from basically like you're in a hallway, it makes a turn and then it kind of does a zigzag
Okay.
thing as it goes around a couple of the larger rooms. And you can hear it approaching you.
Okay.
But it hasn't gotten in past the first corner that you get to. So you're going to sneak up further to the next corner to
Yep.
see if you can see it. Okay.
If it's an overpowered Roomba, I swear to God, I'm coming up to the office and I'm going to kick you in the shins.
Okay, if you'll check your scene, I believe the image should show up.
Yeah.
Yep. It's one of those.
Freaking Eve.
You see an automated security bot that looks like a really tall Roomba
Called
slowly
it.
drifting along the hallway.
You know, those things are really easy to tip over.
Who
Like
brought
for
a
real.
plunger?
So I
I
will
stick a plunger in its eye.
right. So I will sneak back around another corner, and because we all still have the comms, some kind of security robot or something up here. Looks like
Well, if they have a security
Big white
robot, that
thing.
means that there's still something that needs to be kept secure.
shocking. An abandoned research facility turns out not to be so abandoned.
Yep.
Oh, the thing is traveling along at a very brisk, approximate 1 to 1.5 miles per hour. So you could probably, if you needed to, crawl forward just using your fingertips as propulsion and keep up with it.
um,
You get a feeling that this thing is probably vintage to when the building was actually in use.
okay.
So it's a good, like, 15 or so years old. Like, since then, Sawyer has produced a whole bunch of very interesting security robots into the world.
This is not.
And other Ultratech firms have come up with some very interesting things. This is not.
Yeah.
This is like our current time security robot that trips and falls into a fountain because it doesn't want to work anymore.
Yeah.
Is there any way that I can figure out if it has 360-degree sensors, or just basically if it has any blind spots?
I mean, there is a way to figure that out, but it may
Other
not be
than tripping it.
recommended.
Okay, from the angle you can see, it at least has front-mounted sensors on its head, because there are lights on the front of it. But there are also some lights on the back and the sides. So you presume that maybe it has them, or they're just lights so people don't walk into it when it's dark and trip it over, and because it probably can't right itself.
Oh. No, I won't. And I go and I smash the thing.
Okay, so you're going to get into an altercation with Kirti Bot 1.
Yep.
All right. Well, I will give you, free of charge, especially because everybody's way down the hallway, a completely free, it has no idea you're there attack.
Okay. So let's see.
It is let's see, DA Bot 1 is target 3.
Okay. So let me look here. Disrupting.
Which is being generous to it, by the way.
Sure. So those are going to be. Yeah, it's just used. All right. Let me see something here. Okay. So I'm just going to go and double whammy it with scratch resistance and disrupting touch.
Okay.
You said it is a target 3.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. That costs 1. Scratch resistance costs. Sorry, guys. It's been a while since I've run these numbers. Okay, so that costs 2. And the phasing is 1 speed. Okay, so I now have a might edge of 3. So I am going to put a level of effort into the damage for each one of these. Now let's see. I have surprise attack. Oh, yeah, if attacking from a hidden vantage with surprise before your opponent is acted, you get an asset on the attack. On a successful hit, you inflict 2 additional points of damage. So that should qualify.
Yep.
Which means, actually no. If I put the 2, 7, 4. Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 1 level of effort into attacking for each attack, because it's all part of the same action. So that means that both attacks hit, because I've lowered it down to difficulty 0. The disrupting touch does. Nope, wrong one. That's the one I wanted. Okay, so that's 4 plus 2 from the surprise attack. That's 6. And Scratch is also... So that is 12 points of damage that ignores armor.
Okay. You fly around the corner, come to an abrupt halt in front of it. Wave of damage hits out to it. The plastic casing around it shatters. It falls to the ground. Its wheels are still trying to move. And then it announces in a very authoritative voice, "We have been watching your activities in this sector." And then the wheels move some more, and it's trying to move and not doing a very good job of it.
So did that sound like a human voice coming through a speaker, or was it like, yeah, we have been monitored?
Pre-recorded.
Okay.
It keeps doing it. And then it switches to "please desist."
No. And I blast it again.
So from down the hall, all of you hear the breaking glass noise of your friend shifting into high-speed mode. You hear this horrible smashing noise, some robotic talk, and then just what sounds like a whole bunch of kicking happening in agility.
So you actually do hear, before that, you actually do hear Crash muttering to himself, "Oh, okay, I'll be good. No, I won't." And then...
I just hand over Neva a $5 bill.
Because I was just about to say, pay up.
Yep.
So the rest of you catch up with him. He is surrounded by a broken pile of plastic and metal parts. There's still a little bit of light coming off of the thing, and one of the wheels is attempting to move, but the rest of the device is very inoperable.
Little bit of overkill, don't you think?
Go big or go home.
Broke
Did
my
you
new
know
toy.
the guy?
We can pick up the pieces on the way out and have Tank rebuild it. It'd be a good
Nah.
souvenir.
Nah. I'm sure there's better souvenirs around here.
That thing belongs in a
I'm-
museum.
I'm not lugging it around throughout this whole place.
Exactly.
All right. So that's the only motion you were detecting on the floor. So you think you have this floor to yourself.
Okay.
Think
Yeah,
being the operative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Presume. So now that we have the one other thing that was moving other than us immobilized, is there anything that looks like has further information, file cabinets?
So there's not much in terms of file cabinets. This floor seems to have a series of changing rooms and exam rooms. There are a couple large rooms that the way that it's laid out, it seems like either perhaps one is a prep room and the other is a recovery room, and that there are a bunch of old gurneys in various situations. Some of them still upright, some of them have been knocked over by hoodlums coming through. But it seems to be more a place of, instead of storing information, this is where things were happening. You do not see any sort of other laboratory or an operating theater or anything like that on this floor, but it mostly seems a place where patients came into and then patients left through.
Does it look familiar to me?
You do find, yes, actually it does. You remember this? This looks familiar from when you were a kid. You remember having to go in, and then you go through, down a couple hallways, and then you'd have to wear that really embarrassing thing with your butt hanging out, and have to walk sideways along the wall till they finally put you into a gurney, and then usually they'd put you to sleep at some point. Then you'd wake up in there again, and be really groggy and stuff, and your parents would take you home. So you remember bits and pieces of this as you're walking through. Like the color of the wall is familiar. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that green. That I used to like, be pushed by it as, the world's getting all blurry and stuff before I passed out.
I just kind of look around and like do a full body. Someone walked on my grave shiver. I don't like it here.
I'm not sure anyone's supposed to like it here.
So no operating theater. Is there a way down?
So as you wander around, you have the elevators that you did not manage to come down because, well, they were upstairs and not moving anywhere. So there's you have the set of elevators. The stairwell that you went down doesn't have a corresponding one heading further down by the elevators. On the other hand, there is a stairwell heading down behind the nurses' station.
Okay.
So you could, at this point, either go down behind the nurses' station or see if you can jimmy open the door on the elevator, since the elevator car, from what you were able to observe earlier, all the elevator cars are on the first floor.
I feel better about the stairs.
I don't blame you.
I mean, I'm fine with the elevator shaft, but I'm
The
weird.
shaft isn't the problem. It's the heavy object suspended above us while we're climbing down the shaft. That's the problem.
Climbing? I was just gonna jump down there, but
Not
I
all
look
of us
over
have
and-
cat-like reflexes, Pa.
But more power to you. If you would like to do that, please, you are the one equipped for it.
actually, I am gonna stop and
That's the
actually
guy who can fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually going to do a quick poke my head down and see if the cipher goes off for any sort of movement in the
Okay,
elevator
so you're going to jimmy open the doors on the elevator shaft.
Yeah, I at least want to do a little bit of a recon on it.
Okay, so you managed to pry open the doors on the elevator, which isn't spectacularly difficult, and keep them open with a piece of junk that is conveniently sitting around, like a hunk of cement that fell off of the wall somewhere, that really makes you worry about how much of the weight of that building is going to eventually end up in the basement of this place, because that's what happens when you get low bid contracts, I guess. So you open up the elevator shaft, and indeed the elevator is just right above you, because you're not that far underground at this point. And the elevator shaft proceeds downward a fairly decent amount. So you can see 3 more floors below you.
Okay, I report back to the comms that there's at least 3 more floors below this one.
Oh, goody.
Yep.
So y'all taking the elevator or the elevator
No.
shaft, I should say, or are you going down the stairs?
Stairs, please.
Yep, stairs
Stairs.
still.
Okay. So as you're heading down the stairs, Gene, you are not getting a very good feeling being in here. At one point, one of the people turns their headlamp to look in another direction, and suddenly it feels very, very dark and enclosed where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you're having bad feelings about this entire place all of a sudden.
So we're walking down together and spaced typically, but you all notice that and especially because you can see my light, Neva looks somewhere else, and then my light goes still and I stop. I just sort of tense up and I stop. And like Jack, you're right behind me. So
So-
you have to either maneuver around me or you actually run into me.
Let's
mean,
have some fun. Let's have some
Okay.
fun with this. Hang on a second.
Oh Lord.
How about an intrusion?
That was inevitable.
That's what they're for.
Okay.
And
Oh,
who are you
hold
going to
on.
give the other
Button.
point to?
Jack.
Okay.
So when she looks away and you kind of freeze for a second, then of course the worst thing happens. The battery inside of your headlamp starts going. And all of a sudden that bright light gets dimmer and dimmer. You're just watching the circle shrink in front of you.
So are we still mid-flight?
Yes.
Okay. Since I am in front and what I see is the light turn, and is like, as soon as that happens, the light dims and I freeze up. And so I'm gripping the railing. Jack bumps into me just a little bit because he's not expecting me to stop and I haven't said anything. And the unexpected bump, I start a bit, but I had already begun my my next step. How many steps before the next landing? Because I'm falling.
Like a good 5 steps.
Okay.
So not like a huge distance, but enough so you'll fully topple over by the time you hit the bottom.
Yes. So I tumble, I fall to my right, onto my right side, and then legs kind of go up to the wall. And is there any light source now that I've gotten on that landing, or is it still like discounting Neva's light? Is there any other light source on the landing?
No, none that you can see.
Okay.
Especially
So
it's that moment your light winks out because you've hit the wall and it goes out.
okay. So from my perspective, I am frozen. I am completely clenched and kind of just like I'm not okay. And
Of note,
I'm
when you
basically
fell,
in a frozen panic attack.
when you fell, the one nice thing was that the damage you would have taken gets absorbed.
Woohoo!
So as you smack into the wall, the eddy, pulls that in instead, so you don't have to deal with it.
Excellent. I'm chambered for the next round.
I look
So-
down, pointing my light down now that I've seen or at least heard him tumble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from your perspective, he fell down the stairs and he's not getting back up.
But and so he's not I'm not getting back up, but what you all hear is that kind of it is a scarier, more real, whenever Shaggy and Scooby get that nervous chatter, they get that scared chatter with the teeth going and the it's that, but it's repressed through clenched teeth. And yeah, Egon's gone bye-bye. What do you got? So I am not in a good place right now, and I am unaware of my surroundings currently.
Ying, you okay?
I do not respond. I sense like that was like, that coming in. there was something that I sensed, but I couldn't acknowledge it. I couldn't turn my focus to that in order to try to bring myself out of it.
Gene, are your eyes open or are they clenched shut?
Yes.
Okay.
No, they are open.
Excellent. I go up to him and I take out my flashlight and I shine it right in his eyes.
So when you do, and this is to your perspective,
Mhm.
you see the teeth. You see the teeth for an instant, and then just like before in the car, they recede. My pupils are like fully dilated, and slowly they start to narrow. It is not until they are like pinpoints the way they should be that, like, I have been aware of this light, but it has basically been it's taken this process to reboot my frontal cortex and start to regain control and awareness of where I am. And once my pupils have dilated, my breathing gradually starts to deepen. You can see the tension gradually releasing, and I cough and I sputter, and now I'm trying to like get myself out of it. And when I do, I shake my head, and I'm assuming that the light is still in my eyes, and I look up at the light because I've got nothing else to focus on, and say like, want to turn that elsewhere, bud?
Okay, so there's a moment pause, and then the light moves to the side, and you see Crash look down and smirk at you and say, "Not particularly."
When you look down at when you've pulled the light away, you see the weirdest thing. You see his second set of eyes, kind of glowing faintly around his forehead, and then they fade back.
He's a freaking Denarian, isn't he?
Think of what somebody with an alien symbiote is.
Just saying.
So you make it
All
down
right.
to the next
So-
floor.
I'd ask. I'm still directing to Crash, like, and now I'm feeling, so I reach my hand up feebly for him to help me get up, and begrudgingly ask, so do I want to know what I missed?
Like the fifth stair.
I look up. I'm assuming you're still, I don't know if you came down to meet it, but if you're still, it's like, and probably all of those in between, huh?
The looks of it, you hit a couple of them. You
Gotta
okay,
work
buddy?
on my aim. And so well, wasn't expecting that kind of a flashback, so
Well, that's the thing with flashbacks. You don't get to choose when they happen or what they're about.
you can say that again. Don't say that again.
You could, but don't.
Mm-hmm. Door?
After you.
It's what got me in trouble in the first place. You first.
All right.
While the two of them are squabbling about it, Crash has already gone into the
Of course he has.
room.
This floor is
And probably Paw probably snuck around
Oh, yeah.
around
Yeah.
us too. Because it's like,
This floor
I'm gonna continue down the stairs, motion detectoring. While they're kind of
as you get into the next floor, it is in some respects similar to the last one. It has the zigzaggy hallway going through it. Instead of having changing rooms or whatnot, the hallway is a bit wider, and it has two what look like operating theaters in it. So do you want to go to operating theater 1 or 2 first?
What am I, an optometrist now?
I do I see any particular difference between the two, other than I assume one of them is closer?
Well, there's a painted thing on the wall. Theater 1 to the left, theater 2 to the right.
I will go in number 1 because it's there.
Okay. Excellent. So you walk in, and the place, once again, the moisture has gotten to it. There's not as much evidence of people having been in here since. So you imagine the majority of the hooligans did not make it down this far. And Crash, you don't seem to recall that you stopped on this floor on your way through, because none of this is looking familiar to you at all.
Okay.
And if you had, then it was while you were still recovering from the blast ringing your head.
Sure.
You go in. It is a spectacularly complicated operating theater. You have the place in the middle with the special table to adjust people, with all the lights around it, most of which have been broken at this point, and a whole bunch of strange cabinetry and refrigeration units along one of the walls. And while we're here, now that you're getting into all the good places, Jacta, how about a nice intrusion?
Well, I mean, nice, no, but intrusion. I'm assuming this place looks familiar.
So who would you like to give the other XP to?
We'll go with Jean because we had a bonding moment earlier.
So you walk around the room, because indeed it does look familiar. And you're struck with 2 images in your head. The first is you look up at the lights on the ceiling, and you have a recollection of them. You remember seeing that light pattern, because there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of lights in them, as opposed to like the big shiny dome version of them. And you remember staring up at them when you woke up, and the light was so bright you couldn't see anything else. But then you remember something else, something kind of weird, and what turns out for you to be very, very disturbing is you remember somehow being in one of those refrigeration units. Not your body, just your part of your consciousness sitting in there, kind of floating, looking out through this distorted window on the rest of the theater.
Cold, dark.
Not
Gene,
everyone out of things here.
Jack does not look okay right now.
Whips the mask off and pukes in the corner.
I had started to, I had taken a step towards him to do the obligatory, hey, are you doing? Well, that answers that question. And did anybody think to bring a water bottle? Okay, got to put that on the list next time.
yeah.
Because I'm not trusting any water fountains in this place.
No.
I'm sure you could get some water out if you like squeeze some of the mold that's on the walls. You might be able to get
No.
Thank you.
Oh, that's nasty.
And unfortunately, I don't have create ice yet.
Yummy. I'll pass. Thanks.
Mhm. Well, I go up to Jack and gently put a hand on his shoulder. It's my turn to return the favor. You gonna be all right there?
No, but I'll manage.
He keeps staring at the refrigerator units on the wall.
So I see his gaze. I follow. I look back, seeing that he's fixated. Anything you're able to share with the class?
Just make sure I don't wig out. And I go over and start opening the refrigerating units.
You open up the refrigerator units, and inside are a set of 3 stainless steel shelves that are fairly standard because they can be removed and cleaned. And on one of them is a large glass container with a locking lid on top of it. And you look at it, and there's some stuff underneath it, some sort of equipment-y type of thing, and a fairly viscous but clear liquid inside with a couple things floating in it.
Things like
Or organic tissue of some sort, perhaps.
is it kind of knurled and convoluted?
Yeah, strangely enough, it's got a kind of gray colored and has some folds to it.
There label or serial number on it?
Yes, actually, there's a sticker kind of put onto the bottom part of it with a one of those barcodes with the number on top of it.
I'm gonna need you to take a picture of that.
Okay. Regular picture or zoomed in picture?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Taking pictures now.
Document, document, document.
Yeah.
Is the jar hooked up to anything, or is it just sitting there?
No, it's just sitting there. Whatever apparatus is in the base of it seems to run on its own. Although it's not running now, obviously. Been sitting there a long time. If it had power, it's long since drained out.
Yeah. How big is the jar?
About like yay far across, circular. It's like about the size you could like put a decapitated head right inside of it if you needed to, or maybe the contents thereof.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Patrick. Oh no, finish. Jack, finish.
Well, that leaves with us when we leave this place.
Interesting. It's pretty easy to find a cart to put it on if you want to roll it around towards the staircase.
Okay.
Might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. Park it near the staircase.
yeah.
Patrick,
Yes.
I would like to make a note. So I had an associate back in my Queensguard days by one part of our team, but we knew each other. Windblade, who retired from active duty to work at DART until it was decommissioned. I would like to make a note to reach out to him to find out who is in charge at the time of decommissioning, so we can find out who's responsible for said things.
All this.
All right. So, you want to go to the other lab?
Not
I look over-
especially, but we
Gonna say,
probably
yeah,
should.
Wanna?
Yeah, it's like look over to Jack's like, there's door number 2. You up for it?
Crash is already there.
Tonight can't get any worse. I
Don't
know
say
it can.
that.
Yeah.
can. For me personally, it can't.
Don't say that.
Do you actually
so the
say
rest
that
of
out
you
loud?
go in.
Yeah, I say for me personally, it can't get worse.
See, Crash wheels around, points a finger at you, and says, "Go outside,
Stop.
turn around 3 times, and spit."
Nope.
And then he turns back around and
That's
goes,
part of my brain in that bucket. You don't get to say that.
You
Okay.
look back in the bucket, and indeed, there's some bits of what look like brain floating in it.
"That's what happens when you leave them on the table at the restaurant."
Didn't have money for a tip, okay?
Is there a... So I zip over, and I'm actually now, because you still have the helmet off, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like looking you over. Is there a hatch or something we can put these in? I don't see any bolts around your neck. That's a good sign. Whatever.
Although when you're poking around, you do notice some scars running on his head, like one that like kind of pokes out under his hairline near his ear.
I see that. And I kind of, I have a crowbar. We could take care of that. Maybe later.
Maybe.
Mommy always said I should become a doctor. And I zip back over to number 2.
So you guys walk into lab number 2. And lab number 2 is constructed very differently than lab number 1, in that there's a whole bunch of computer equipment ringing the outer wall of the room and a large apparatus in the middle of it, which largely seems to consist of a table with a whole bunch of straps hanging loosely off of it that you would apparently attach a patient to, and what looked like, if you've seen the non-claustrophobic version of a CT machine, so like that big donut on articulating arms, there's a pair of them at either end, at the head and or foot of the table of whatever it's supposed to do, and you figure that it's designed such that they will, move over it surrounding the person that's in it. And the table has its own articulating arm, so it can be moved up and adjusted as it needs to.
One.
Oh, look, another intrusion. Oh, shucks.
Ah,
None of
all
them.
right. I accept it.
And who will be getting the other XP?
You know what? I'm gonna give it to Crash.
Thank you.
Even though you're being an ass today.
I'm an ass every day.
That was
I know. So anyway,
So you remember something from your treatments. It's one of those things that had kind of just been buried into your childhood memories and kind of lost with time, is that at some point the anesthesia failed. And you remember being strapped down with that white bar from the donut thing passing over your head back and forth. And you don't have a very solid memory of it because, once again, you were just kind of breaching out of anesthesia before they put you back under. But your looking at it and you're remembering that on the inside there's this seam, and through that seam a really weird kind of one orange colored light was emitting on you, and every time it passed over you it hurt a lot.
I come to a dead stop when I see the thing and slowly start backing up. And obviously, I've gone even whiter than I normally am.
I think that was
So you're
possible.
back into Crash, who's in the middle of saying something snarky, and then poof, you bump into him.
And
Yeah.
you can feel me, he can feel me trembling. Because I've just started, that full body terror shake. With my eyes wide, just staring at the thing.
What's up, Snowflake?
I know that thing.
Right?
Yeah. No. 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 And I just keep backing up. Until I'm in the hallway. I don't care who I've run over. I have just backed up completely.
You have literally noped out of the room.
Yes.
So, Pa, as you are standing there watching this as she's backing up, and you look back at the thing that, was causing whatever disturbance that, is obviously bothering your friend.
Yeah.
And this is happening a lot today. So you're kind of, this place is, kind of cursed. Suddenly you feel that thing in your head again. There's motion around you.
Okay. Motion incoming.
In fact, there's a couple of them.
From where?
Direction, proximity.
Interestingly, in an homage as mentioned before, they're above you. And once she's noticed, like, oh, wait a second, hang on, I got incoming, and then both of them drop to the ground. Boop. That's right, security dogs. Not as cute as the robotic dog that you have, which is bordering on downright adorable. No, these are really creepy ones with snapper arms for heads, and who knows what else is going on with them. And they move really disturbing, bouncy gait that they have.
Great. It's nice to know
And
that
so
they've got a
given-
partnership with Boston Dynamics.
Well, these are advanced dynamics. Maybe there's a similarity here.
Yeah.
All right, so we're about halfway through. So we want to call it a night before the combat?
It is 10 o'clock. Leave it up to others.
I think before it would be nice to have a clean stop here and then get
Yeah.
ready to go smashy next time.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this
Yeah.
is a good stopping point.
Yep.
Yeah. Next
Excellent.
time, a few of us will have some shit to work out.
That's okay. We can just bill STEM for the therapy because somehow either the insurance is going to cover it or they're responsible. Either way, they can foot the bill.
Well, I'm saying smacking around some dog bots is going to be therapeutic.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
All right, so that is it for issue 15 of the Powers That Be. This one was called Spelunking in the Past. So we got ourselves all lined up for a nice little takedown. I will say that we will not be having a session 2 weeks from tonight, as I am going to be undergoing surgery. 2 weeks after that, we'll have to see how I'm doing. So with that, we are going to wrap this up, go do our after show, and then call it a night. So, again, thank you all for joining us. For Patrick, Ecat, Matt, Julie, and Ray, I am Trevor, the Vitruvian Meeple. Good night.